Coach, whenever you're ready, take it away.
All right, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good? Ready to go? All right, just first of all, excited that we're finally here, finally getting going, excited that everybody's together and that we can kind of get off to a normal start. This is my 40th football season. So started playing in the 5th grade and played 8 years and then played 5 years there in college and you know, it's crazy. 13 years at Alabama. It's my 19th year at Clemson. My 13th as the head coach. And the one thing I can tell you, for me, that it never gets old. Like, there's so much to get to this point and so much to kind of get going, but it absolutely never gets old. I love every aspect of it, even the crappy stuff that you have to do to get to this point, to get ready to go play football and coach football. I love it. I'm really proud of our guys. It's been an incredible off season. I think we, you say, well, how do you compare that? Well, we have a lot of quantitative data, as far as how we can compare teams and where we are from a maturity standpoint, just like we have with our season stuff. But, where are we in the weight room? Where are we with our conditioning? Where are we with our leadership? Where are we with our chemistry? There's a lot of things that go into that in the summer. In the summer, that's why we call it the transformation phase. That's where I think teams make their biggest leaps, during this time. When the stands are empty and they're here and all they got is each other. And, this group did an amazing job this year. I think we, I don't have the exact numbers, but we had a record number of PRs, personal records, as far as things that happen in the weight rooms. This team quantitatively is ahead of several teams that we've had in the past in some of our measurables. So I'm just really proud. I'm proud of the leadership and so forth. And really a focused team. We did have obviously one incredibly unfortunate situation with Fred Davis last month, and that's obviously everybody knows about that. And but I'm first of all thankful to the good Lord, and I'm thankful to all those people, the responders that were on the scene there, that what was an incredibly serious situation didn't become tragic. So I'm really thankful, again, to the good Lord and all the people who were there. And as far as Fred goes, this is not of his character. I'm just incredibly disappointed in his decision making. It's just that simple. I mean, just poor decision. He's going to deal with lots of consequences for that. Certainly we've got policies in place from the university standpoint when it comes to misdemeanor charges and things like that will handle his discipline from an internal standpoint. But he'll have consequences from this for a long time. Again, that comes with there's consequences for our decisions. So it's not something that is prolonged. He's had immediate consequences from the moment that this happened, and his team discipline has already started and will continue today. So I'm not going to really say anything else about Fred, but I do want to talk about some positive things, and that's our injury report. First and foremost, Justin Ross has been cleared to play football. It's been 18 months that this young man has been it's been unbelievable watching his journey. 18 months to get to this point, and just incredibly thankful for amazing doctors that he's had. But he put the work in, and his doctor has cleared him to return, and we've got some final paperwork that we got to have done by Monday. But unfortunately, on another note, I hate that you aren't going to get to see him practice today because he's in COVID protocol. So, but he's waited 18 months to get to this point. I think he will actually be able to rejoin us next Friday, just in time to go to the reserve and hang out on the lake. So, and obviously we won't scrimmage him next Saturday. But he's in great shape. He's had an awesome summer. It's not like these guys just show up here. I mean, he's been grinding all summer, skills and drills and all that stuff. But just really, again, thankful that he's got the opportunity to return and do something that he loves. Y'all, I think, all know about Taekwon with his right pec, so he's going to be out. That'll be a long-term injury there. Super excited about Tyson Pumachon, and I think y'all will be too when y'all see him today. I mean, he is another just miracle. To be honest with you, it's just amazing how he has responded, to the treatment. And again, everybody's different. First of all, it's I mean, we all respond differently to rehab and things like that, but then the type of work that he's put in, the type of sacrifice and discipline that he's applied to his training and recovery has been amazing. But he looks great, and he's been cleared to do certain aspects of practice as well. And again, all I can tell you is I don't have a date or anything. I just say he's going to be back sooner than later. And what went from a immediate, horrible mindset in the spring to as the summer came along, it's like, wow. So I'm excited that he will have an opportunity to be back. DeMonte Capehart had to have a little scope, but everything was good. They didn't have to repair anything. So he's on the fast track to get back going, but he'll be out in the immediate from a practice standpoint, but he is on a fast track to be back sooner than later. Banks Pope is a preferred walk-on guy coming in here as a tight end. He's tore his ACL back before he got here, so he's just here. We got him as a part of the rehab part of camp, so he's just rehabbing. The other one is Brandon Spector. He's a lot better too, from where y'all may or may not remember from the spring. We had to kind of hold him and limit him, but he is a lot better than he was. But he's still kind of in the COVID protocol, if you will, and not fully cleared. So he probably will not participate in camp. But again, when they tell us he's good to go full speed, then we'll be glad to get him back. But other than those guys, we're in a good shape from an injury standpoint. The team's ready to go, and excited to get back to practice. And as practice goes, I think typically what we do is give y'all about 6 periods to do what y'all got to do and handle your business. I told Ross earlier today that first of all, y'all obviously have to love sports, or you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't have chosen this for your job if you didn't love covering sports and all that. And it's been a long 18 months for everybody with everything that's going on. So I'm going to open practice up, but once those 6 periods are over, y'all are welcome to stay and observe. And the same for tomorrow. So you want to come out tomorrow. We don't have any media availability tomorrow, but if you want to come out and watch practice, come on out. All right. So that'll be today and tomorrow. All right.
Coach, I have a question. If someone will tell us, you haven't seen them on the field yet, what are they coming in? How do you feel about the guys? How they came in?
Yeah. Well, the good news is most of our guys came in January, and you can just see the difference. I mean, like Brenningstool showed up he might have been 209, and he was 233 yesterday. And so you just see the difference in these guys, where Marcus Tate was in January. Bringstool just jumps out at me. All these guys, it's amazing the progress that they've made. And, so it's not like you're dealing with a normal guy that just got here. The overwhelm part's kind of behind them, away from home, all the structure of the program, the competition. They've been through spring, the installation. This will be their 3rd time to get installation for those guys. So I'm thankful that we had a bunch of mid-years, but for the guys that just got here, they've done a great job. I think they all made A's and B's and did a good job in their school part, and they've transitioned well in the weight room. We've got some guys that are we've got some advanced guys that came in here with a really good foundation, and then we got some guys that got a little ways to go, as far as putting it together. And you see that quickly when you get to this level. because there's just, the guys that we get, very rarely is there many people that can really challenge them consistently. And then you step into this environment where you get challenged every day, whether it be from a mental standpoint and what you have to learn, knowledge of the game, a physical standpoint in that weight room, strength conditioning, you kind of see where you are compared to some other guys, nutrition, everything, how these guys take care of their bodies, conditioning, and the competitiveness that comes at this level from a conditioning standpoint. And now you ramp it up with practice. So it's a lot on them, but I'm excited to see them for the first time on the field.
Coach, a lot of speculated about how camp might be a little bit different with the limitations on contact, full pads, and drills that the NCAA has placed. Skowski told me a couple weeks ago he didn't expect things to be much different for y'all, but what about like your drills as far as the wind drill and the paw drill? Are those going to be adjusted at all?
Yeah, I don't know. They must have stolen my practice schedule for the last 12 years. When that all came out, I think a lot of coaches were like, "What?" And what they legislated is what we've been doing around here forever, with the exception of we've always done 3 scrimmages. We've done 2 true scrimmages, and one of them was a situation. And the third one was all situational. So we'll still do the situational, Dave. It'll be all thud, and then I think it's 75 minutes of tackle. Not counting your scrimmages. I have never ever had a practice of 75 minutes of tackle. Like the most we've ever been live is maybe 30 minutes, on a 50-50 type day. So they said you got to have, I can't remember what it is, 7 days in shorts. I think last year we did 9 or 10 days. And that's the same that's been for 12 years around here. So the only adjustment for us is they specifically said we can't do paw drill. The wind drill that's a totally different deal. That's within the rules. But the paw drill, which to me is the safest drill we do. We don't ever get anybody hurt in paw drill. We get guys hurt in shorts. But that's the rule that was put forth, and so we'll just, you got to do 11 on 11 type stuff to get what you need. You can't do 3 on 3. The old Oklahoma drill, what we've called paw drill forever and ever and ever. So that's the only adjustment. That, and then the third situational scrimmage will be all thud. It'll just be a situational practice. But other than that, there's really no adjustments for us at all. Pretty simple.
Where are you guys with your vaccination, and are you still going to do any of the COVID protocol protection stuff that you had to do last year?
We're right there at that 85%. I want to say we're 83, 84%. We got a couple more guys that I think are planning to get vaccinated this weekend. So we're in a really good spot. So I'm proud of our guys. I'm proud of our team and how they've responded. But absolutely, we've got good protocols in place from, again, I don't want to call anybody out, but if you got a whole position group and you only got one guy that's not vaccinated, well, you're no big deal there. But if you got one position group and there's 12 and 8 of them are vaccinated, you just want to make sure that you have to mitigate that properly. So, but we're in a good spot. Guys have done a really good job, and excited to get going.
Dabo, what strides have you seen out of DJ Uiagalelei as he kind of hits into camp?
I just think this time last year he was, had not had a camp yet. He had not been a part of a game, week, and how we prepare for a game week, all that stuff. He's been there, done that now, and he had a chance to have a front row seat to Trevor all year. I think that has served him well. He's just mentally in a different place, and he was way ahead last year from a typical freshman. But his whole mindset is different. His maturity, his leadership role, all those things. I've seen him assert himself a lot better. He's stronger. He's in great shape. I was messing with him yesterday. I called him Little Cinco. I told him if he was anywhere in the 4s, he'd be Little Cinco. If he gets back in the 5s, he goes back to Big Cinco. So, but he's excited about the opportunity, and we are too.
Dabo, in terms of, you talked about the vaccination rate, but in terms of the protocols for the players, are you emphasizing, being careful year round, trying to make sure you are available for practice, and obviously going into the season for games?
Listen, where they say the best ability is availability, right? You know, so the one thing we have this year that we didn't have last year is a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in dealing with this, and we didn't have that last year. Number one, and number two, we didn't have a vaccine. So, you know, thankful for that, and our guys have a much better understanding that, you know, hey, this is what can happen if you don't do those things that you're talking about there. So, we've been spending the last 18 months talking about those things.
Dabo, what's next for Andrew Booth? Obviously, we've seen the crazy highlight reel that he is. So what do you guys need from him next?
Availability. That's it. Just be there. Just be there every week. You know, that's the only thing that's kept him from really kind of, you know, I mean, you see it. I mean, and we see it at practice, and you've seen it on game day, but just consistency in his availability. You know, it's a tough game, and he's had some nagging injuries along the way that have limited his consistency. So that's really it. Just availability, week in, week out.
Dabo, you talked about Justin being clear. Where's his headspace at? Is he in a good place after such a serious injury?
He's been in a good headspace for quite a while. I think he's just been more frustrated with the process, you know, because, you know, he's been cleared by his doctor for a while, but, you know, you can understand the complicated medical issue. There's a huge process, and you want to make sure that you do everything right. And he's so happy. He's ecstatic, but he's disappointed that he's not here today. I can tell you that. But again, he's good, and it's like I told him. I said, well, you waited 18 months. You make it a few more days. So, but he's been in the meetings and zooming in and all that stuff, and we know what he can do. So we've got a great plan for him. You know, he did everything all spring except get tackled. He wore pads and helmets and shoulder pads. He's bumped and grind all summer long with the skills and drills. You know, but his mentality, he's been ready a long time in his mind.
What about Malcolm Green coming off the shoulder injury? Is he going to be ready to go?
He looks great. He looks great. That's what I told him. I don't know if y'all saw the video of him diving through the. I think he was racing Trenton Simpson. I don't know if y'all saw that. And, you know, he left his feet and dove. I said, well, I guess he's fine. No caution there. So he looks great. Looks awesome. The Xander, same thing. Those guys look great. Again, we're in a really good spot right now. We got 2 or 3 guys that'll be in green today that we're just kind of protecting them. I mean, everybody's in short, so it doesn't mean a whole lot today. But other than just we're kind of having some caution with them for a day or so.
Dabo, for the first-year guys, what's the biggest adjustment that you see that they have to take in those first couple of weeks of preseason camp?
They got to learn how to take care of their bodies. You know, they got to learn how to prepare. It's a lot. I mean, they're up in installation meetings right now, and it's a bunch coming at them. So learn how to take care of their bodies, learn how to prepare, take notes, you know, manage their time, and then how to practice. They got to learn how to practice. You know, they got to learn, you know, how to practice the right way and create the type of habits and push themselves, because that's what shows up on game day.
Dabo, it's been a pretty remarkable recovery for Tyson. What's gone into his rehab that's allowed him to bounce back so quickly?
Well, I'd say first of all, I guess you just got to give the good Lord a little credit, his mom and dad, for good genetics. That's first thing I'd say. The second thing is you know, our medical team's done an amazing job with him, and the third thing is he's put the work in. His work ethic, his determination, his attitude, his consistency, his relentless pursuit of getting back.
It's been a pretty chaotic 30, 45 days in college football with NIL, expansion talk, what's happening with the SEC. Have you gotten your head around everything that's gone on, and what do you see is going to be like the next domino to fall in this thing? Is the SEC going to gobble up all of college football? Big 12 going to die? I mean, what do you foresee happening?
You don't know. That sounds like something somebody call in on your radio show and talk about. But you know, what's going next domino for me is practice at 4:30. You know, and 30 days from now, we got an opportunity to achieve our first goal, and that's to win the opener. That's it. That's all I control. The rest of that, there's been enough said about that stuff from our end.
On the knee injury, Dabo, what's the difference between back in the day when you played and now the recovery time? Is it the medical advances that went on?
Yeah.
You got guys like Amari that turned around and did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
And then I got one here. Still, I'm 40 years into it, still there.
yeah, I don't think there's any question the advancements in procedures is one thing. I mean, procedures aren't near as invasive today than they used to be. And, you know, just like anything, the techniques, the advancements in research and knowledge, I think, you know, changes everything. You had an ACL, you know, back when I was playing, it was different. So I think we're all blessed from great research and a bunch of smart doctors and techniques that have been shared and so forth, and knowledge has been gained through other people. So we've just got a great team of people that work hard, but ultimately it comes down to that individual and you know, how hard they're willing to work. Certainly everybody's body responds differently to surgeries and so forth. So, you know, just thankful. I mean, Deshaun Watson and what he did, you know, it's incredible. I'll never forget that.
Played him.
Yeah.
But what are you looking to see out of Tristan Lee during sort of the course of the game?
Well, I mean, obviously he's a big physical kid. You know, he's at a start. This is just a starting point for him, and you know, the biggest thing I'm looking for is how quick can he learn what to do. You know, physically, he's got some natural attributes. He's nowhere near what he's going to be, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, as he gets, you know, into the strength conditioning program and just the holistic approach that we have here. But the main thing right out of the gate is, you know, where's his head? You know, I think the physical part will come pretty easy to him. If you watch him play, that's like one of his greatest attributes. But when you load these guys down, all these guys, I always tell these freshmen, were you a better player your senior year, or in some guys this year, they can play a senior year, junior year, than your freshman year? And they all go, yeah. And I'm like, well, why is that? Because the game is slower. And when the game slows down, you got a little more swag, you got a little more confidence, you carry yourself a little differently, you anticipate differently, you know the system, you know, you're not thinking, you're just playing ball. And then all those great attributes you have, they go to a higher level. And so, you know, that's the thing about coming into college. You know, it's such an adjustment from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint and a structure standpoint, and then just what you see day in and day out competitively. It's just so different, and it's a big change. I think physically, he's in a good place. But I haven't been in a meeting with him. I haven't watched him after 3 days of installation. I have no idea. You know, so how is he going to manage that? Because you can have all those great attributes, but if you get loaded down with that stuff and it's, you know, it just, some guys process it quicker than others, then all of a sudden you're not playing as confident, you're playing tentative, you're not as physical, you know, at any position on the field. So where is he mentally? That's really the main thing I'm looking for. You know, how quick can he pick things up so that he has a chance to compete?
For a guy like DJ taking over for a guy like Trevor and everything he did, being the #1 pick, do you worry at all about him trying to put too much pressure on himself? Do you guys have conversations about that at all? No,
I don't. Just because of who DJ is. I mean, he's a very confident kid. He has been a long time. A lot like Trevor, he's been in the spotlight for a long time. And you know, the big stage of high school football, TV, expectations. I mean, he's been there, and shoot, I also have some confidence in what I saw at Notre Dame last year. You know, I mean, he's not really an overwhelmed type of a kid. He may be, but you don't see it. He's like that duck on a pond, right? He's just like that all the time. But I don't worry about him. I think he learned a lot from Trevor, and again, I think it's just kind of comes with who he is. If that makes sense.
Coach, in terms of Will Taylor and Billy Wiles picking up the playbook, obviously there's some urgency there. Do you feel like those guys are maybe a little bit ahead of the curve compared to maybe a typical freshman coming in?
Well, not really. I mean, I haven't been in the meetings with them yet. I mean, we've had installation stuff going on through the summer, and they've been out there for skills and drills. But you know, I need to see them live to really give you a fair answer to that. But you know, what I've heard, chit chat wise, those guys are really, really sharp, which doesn't surprise me. But you know, we'll see when we get out there on the field and the intensity goes up and the speed of the decisions, you know, increase. But I'm excited about those guys being here. Super excited about you know, Will and you know, what I think he brings to the table this year and moving forward.
You've got more functional experience stuff across the board this year, but is there a specific position or two that you're looking forward to the competition in camp?
I think there's several of them. I mean, I think we have really good competition across the board. I mean, obviously we've got seven guys who've started on the defensive line. So I would just start there. I think there's going to be a sense of urgency every single rep, you know, because all those guys, you know, they all want to run out there first, and they're all good enough to run out there first. But I don't think they're going to let us run 7 of them out there. I will try, but I don't think they're going to let us do that. So I think that's going to be an incredibly competitive position. I think running backs is going to be incredibly competitive. Linebacker, we got a lot of competition there. We got a lot of guys that know how to play. All those guys back in the secondary that now have more experience to draw upon. I think that's going to serve us well. I think we're going to have great competition at receiver. I think this is you know, on paper. I mean, y'all might want to take a picture of that group today. Well, wait till Justin gets back, then take the picture because. Man, this is a really talented group, and you know, they're all at different stages as far as where they're going in their careers. But you'll look back on that picture in 6 years, and I think you're going to be pretty impressive with what these guys end up doing if the Lord keeps them healthy. So I think a lot of competition there, and then you know, our OL. I mean, we know who's back from last year. And then the guys that added in this spring and in this summer, and then all those guys who you know, weren't quite ready last year. Now they've had a year under their belt, and another spring and a true summer. A lot of them their first summer. It's almost like we got 2 freshman classes because you know, nobody went to class last year. Nobody had a stadium packed. You know, nobody had normal camp. So we really have kind of 2 freshman groups, kind of learn as we go. But I think there's going to be a ton of competition. But the biggest thing is I love the makeup of the team. We've got a lot of seniors and juniors. I've never had 6-year seniors. We got 6th year, bunch of 5th year to go along with all the 4th year seniors. And man, that's exciting because these guys, they know what it takes. They don't think they know. They know. And I think that's going to serve our team well. And then all of a sudden you got a great group of sophomores, and then you got some redshirt freshmen, and then I think there's 33 new freshmen, what do we have, 18, 19 signees, and then a bunch of new walk-ons that came in here with them. So it's a really good group with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of hunger, and I think the biggest thing is when you got guys come back for 6 years and 5th years, they usually don't come back with being casual. You know, they're back with a purpose and a focus, and they want to finish well.
You mentioned the 6 years, the guys coming back in the defensive line and the depth. When Justin decided to come back and XT decided to come back, what did you think what the decision-making process was for them, and how much of an asset is that those guys coming back and bringing their experience?
Yeah, well, XT, you know, he decided back in December or January, he obviously was not anywhere near where he needed to be to maximize his opportunity. Somebody probably would have drafted him, but it wouldn't have been anywhere, you know, near what he's capable of. And so you talk about a guy I'm super proud of. I mean, that guy was 294 pounds at his peak, if you will, and he was 264. I mean, it's incredible. He's been incredibly focused all since January. I mean, he really. I mean, we sat down and we talked and we met and kind of laid out like, you know, where he is and I mean what he needs to do. And man, he's exceeded all those things. And he's just got a great look in his eye. I know he's really proud of himself. And what a difference a year makes for that young man. And I think that will serve him well for the rest of his life. You know, what he's been through, what he's overcome. You know, it's always not what we've become, it's what we overcome along the way. And what he's overcome to get to where he is today, I'm just really proud of him. I'm really proud of him. And, I mean, you think about going and playing football with a 30-pound weight vest on and doing all the things that you normally do. So he's probably going to show up quick when we get out there. He'll probably look like the XT that I've always known, and he's just in a different place from a maturity standpoint. And then Justin, he was gone and had no intentions coming back. It's not like we called him or anything. He called me in May, and you know, so you remember that conversation that Woody? I'm thinking he wanted to come back, and the team loves him. And same thing, he was you know, not in a good place, and now where he is now, and I'm just really proud of him as well. So those two guys, they bring experience, and you know, they're both hungry. They both want to finish well, and then you throw in KJ and Maskell. You know, KJ's fourth year, Maskell's fourth year. Those guys are, and these guys aren't rookies. I mean, we got a lot of competition there. It's kind of similar to that 2014 defense that we had. You know, we were rolling. I mean, we're rolling Vic and Shaq and, you know, Dodd and Crawford and Tavares and all them dudes, and then you got Grady and Reeder and Carlos and, you know, all these guys rolling in and out of there. Deshaun Williams, and they can all play. And so that's a good place to start for us, and having their leadership and maturity is going to serve us well.
Dabo, are there any players or position groups where you left spring thinking, okay, I want to see these guys take a jump in the summer that you're particularly excited to see today?
Tight end, you know, not Braden or Davis. Those guys are elite. You go all over the country, you can't find two better guys than those two guys. But I wanted to see Sage and Jay and Brenningstool, you know, take another step. Man, they're all in it. Jay Lay 261. Man, I mean, he looks amazing. He looks amazing. He you know, he's one of those guys, again, coming in, great physical attributes, but had a lot to learn on how to use it and how to take care of it. You know, and you want to be 285 and work your way to tackle, or do you want to, you know, learn how to take care of your body and be able to have elite performance and buy into the nutrition side of it and be a great tight end. And so it's just been so cool to see him. Same thing. He's just a very mature guy. He's going on his third year now, and he's made big strides from us. I mean, he looks great. There ain't nobody on this team in better condition than Jay Lay. And then Sage Ennis, you know, 250 pounds, and from where he started when he got here and what he's done this past year, that whole group getting Luke back is a positive for us. But that was the one group I felt like we needed to, you know, outside of those first couple guys, we needed those young guys to take a step for us, and they did.
Coach, in terms of the offensive line, I know the COVID offseason was really tough on those guys, big guys, in terms of getting where they need to be. How different do you feel like the offensive line is in terms of where they are conditioning-wise and strength-wise coming into this camp? As opposed to
well, just night and day. I mean, again, you go back to last year, we did not get a spring or finish a spring. We didn't get our normal, you know, training post-spring. We didn't have a summer. And, you know, it was just, you did the best you could. Everybody did the best you could, but there's nothing like, you know, being together and the intensity and the competitiveness that comes with being in this environment when you're doing the training. We're just way ahead. We're way ahead physically. We're way ahead condition-wise. You know, we're stronger, and we're just deeper with more experience. You know, we got a lot more guys that I think are going to be ready to play.
Coach, do you think the vaccination rate needs to be a lot closer to 100%? And how do you encourage these other guys to go ahead and get it done? What are your feelings on that?
Oh, certainly. I've encouraged all of them. I mean, you know, but, you know, I can't, it's not something we can make them do. You know, I'd love to see us be at 100%, and you know, hopefully we'll get there. But we're in a great place, and you know, I feel like that. You know, the more we go, I think, you know, hopefully a few more guys will choose that route. But it's their decision, and I respect that.
Dabo, you talk, getting back to these super seniors, these 60-year guys. You know, last year we speculated a lot about where the glut might be or who might be impacted most. I mean, have you seen any, like whether recruiting would take a hit, whether those freshmen or sophomores might not get as much development because you're going to have older guys back? Have you seen any of that materialize?
I have not.
Yeah.
You know, I think the biggest challenge from a coaching perspective is managing your roster. That's the biggest challenge. We're fortunate, you know. It's just kind of based on the school. You know, this year it didn't matter. If you had 50 come back, it doesn't matter. They're all on scholarship and they don't count. But starting with this 22 class, if somebody comes back, they got to count in your 85. And so, you know, we're fortunate because, you know, we don't have a ton of seniors. You know, we got a lot counting with COVID guys, but you know, you have conversations with guys and kind of know what everybody's intentions are, and we have the ability to kind of project what we need to do in this class. Now, that class of 23, I have no idea. You know, I mean, how can I don't know, and none of these guys know. You know, how can you go to a guy and say, hey, you think in 2 years you might take that COVID year? I mean, heck, they're just trying to get through this week. So, I mean, it's just it's hard to, that's the hard part from the coaching standpoint. Now, there's other coaches out there that are in a real bind in the class of 22. But it just so happens we're not for this class. But in 23, it could be a challenge, and hopefully it'll settle itself out by the time you get there. But it's much harder to project your needs and your roster, to manage your roster, very different from years past.
What growth have you seen out of Hunter Helms from year 1 to year 2? Well, entering year 2.
Yeah, well, confidence. You know, I mean, he feels like he belongs, and he's done a lot of work physically. Had a full year now. He's gotten a lot of reps. It was a blessing for him to be able to get the amount of reps that he got this spring. Obviously, same thing. We were able to pretty much have the team with us most of the time last year, and he got a chance to really be a part of, you know, the weekly prep, and he got to play a little bit. But I think the biggest growth came this spring, and kind of, you know, getting exposed a little bit, and like, man, okay, this is a little different. I gotta be ready, and kind of see where he needs to improve, and then he's worked his tail off this summer, so excited to see where he is when we get back out there.
On the offensive line, who do you see right now that's first team center? Is it Hunter or is it Matt?
It's all the above. It's Bockhorse, it's Rayburn, it's Trotter. I think we listed them that way because I don't know.
Have you seen a center as big as Rayburn?
I think, what's that?
Have you seen a center as big as Rayburn?
Yeah. We've had some big centers around here in the past. You know, Cade wasn't no little dude. We've had some big guys, but Rayburn has really done a great job. Same thing, redshirt sophomore, 320, and it's a different 320. I think he showed up here at like 332 or something when he arrived at Clemson, you know, a couple years ago. And just the transition of his composition, his strength, his knowledge. He's a much more confident kid. He's just one of those kids right now that's kind of got his chest out a little bit. He's got a little different stride to him. So does Trotter. You know, Trotter ain't gonna, I mean, I don't think he can get much over 285, 290. I mean, you talk about maxing out what you got. That kid is strong as an ox and a technician, and he can help us. So he's in that battle. But I think the biggest question with Bockhorse is who's the best 5? You know, we got a lot of guys that can cross-train, and if the best 5 means moving Bach, you know, if Rayburn or Trotter's in that best 5, then Bach can stay. You know, I know Bach's in there, but figuring out, you know, how that's all going to shake out, that's going to be exciting to see, and not just who's in the best 5, who's in the best 7, the best 10. So we got a lot of work to do, and it's going to be fun to sort it out.
What have you seen from Will Shipley, and what's a realistic expectation for a freshman that comes in to kind of find his place in a pretty competitive rundown?
Yeah, he's not like a typical freshman. I mean, it's pretty easy to see. First of all, he came in January, so you know he's going to be ahead anyway. But then just how he carries himself, you know, the 4.0 guy. I mean, he's just locked in all the time. Everything. He's going to win every sprint. You know, he's not a guy that's going to, you know, be respectful to everyone else and go, well, maybe I shouldn't win this sprint. He ain't worried about nobody else. He's going to win every sprint, and if you can't run with him, too bad. You know, that's just his mindset. He's not a guy that's going to wait to his senior year to be a leader. You know, he showed up here as a leader, and he's one of the most respected guys on this team already, and since he got here in January. Just his work ethic, just tremendous work ethic, and just how he carries himself is you know, unique for a freshman.
Dabo, with Jordan McFadden, I mean, he's 6'2", most tackles are 6'5", 6'6", even 6'7" nowadays. What makes him able to play tackle, especially left tackle? Is it something about his other physical attributes that allow him to make up that?
Yeah, it's his length. You know, he's got the length of a 6'4" guy. You know, he's long, and then he's incredibly strong and athletic. Great technician, great fundamental guy. You know, he's just a great athlete. So he can play any position on that field. I mean, left tackle, right tackle, left guard. We've never asked him to snap, but he can play anywhere. But his length. You know, that's the main thing. It's not always as much height. Sometimes you got some tall guys, but they don't have much length. But he's got great length, great athleticism, and then he's got unbelievable anticipation, fundamentally, and technique.
Yeah, but how do you feel about depth at corner? Is that a position that there's going to be battles going on throughout camp, or do you feel like you have two guys that can separate?
No, I think we got 6 guys that can really compete. I think we got 6 guys that are good enough to win, and that's a great feeling. I wish we had 8, but unfortunately we don't. I mean, that's the leanest position on our roster. Fortunately, all 6 can play. You know, it's at a high level for us, and so you know, I'm excited about the competition and how we can. You know, all those guys are going to have to help us. You know, especially when you get nickel situations and things like that. You got 3 corners on the field. You don't have much on the sideline. So we've got those 6, and then we'll cross train some guys to make sure we've got. You know, if we get to a 7th and 8th corner, we're probably in trouble anyway. But make sure that we have a 7th and 8th corner that can go do the job. You know, and so Makuba brings some flexibility there. Ray Thornton, Nolan could go and play corner today. You know, we've got some depth at safety. So, you know, I'm talking about emergency situations. And we've been there before. I remember in years past, we played Adam Humphries at corner. We played Ray at corner. You know, so just having a good contingency plan. So we're in a better spot than a lot of years. Because, again, we usually have about 8 or 9 guys. But we only got 6. But all 6, I really believe in.
One of the guys, Malcolm Green, played with nickel last year. He like a fit that position. Are you guys, is he good on the outside boundaries?
Yeah, oh yeah. He can play anywhere. He's probably more of a field corner. He's tough enough to go play the boundary, but you know, he and Mario will kind of be those nickel guys, and they'll cross train at nickel and corner, and be able to you know, step in and do what we need to do. Feel good about both of those guys. That's kind of where we'll start, and then those other 4 guys will kind of, you know, be at home at corner, and then, you know, we're letting them all compete to be a starter, and then we'll let those 2 kind of cross train at the nickel spot.
Dabo, I think you guys had 4 listed at Sam nickel, including Derrick Carter, which I imagine is pretty rare for a summer enrollee. What are you hoping to see from him in NFL camp?
I just can't wait to see his athleticism on the field. You know, I mean, he's a super athletic guy. He's a physical guy. He can run. But same thing I said about Tristan. I mean, there's a lot going on. We don't just line up and play 4-3. You know, cover 4 around here. There's a lot going on, and so how does he handle once it starts piling up, and you know, from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint. But he's a guy that, you know, it's just excited to get started with him. He's going to be able to do a lot of things in his career as he figures it out. He's going to be able to do a lot of things.
there's always a lot of talk about adversity in sports and the different things that happen. But when you think about the situation that Justin had and going through surgery and things, how did you kind of see him really, I guess, maybe grow from that situation or just deal with it in general, or some just might be really down about it?
Yeah, well, he certainly was very down in the beginning. That's one of the toughest meetings I've ever been a part of, because I didn't know what was happening. It was just because it wasn't like it was some big injury, and I really couldn't believe what I was hearing when they came into my office and getting Justin in there and his mom and talking through it, and listening to the doctors. I mean, that was a very tough day. When you feel fine, but somebody's telling you can't do something. That's one thing. If you got broken knee or something, and you physically know that you're not good, but when it's something that you don't see and you feel great, it was a hard thing, I think, for him to get his mind around and just what was coming. Because now you're talking about this whole season. He had aspirations, he had goals, all those things, and all the stuff that he's going to go through for maybe. But it was interesting because I saw him pick himself up. His mom was amazing. His teammates rallied around him, and he kept the faith. I mean, I think he's grown tremendously through the process. I think we all do when we go through adverse situations. I mean, literally, it either defines us or destroys us or develops us. And I think through his faith, he's allowed this whole process to develop him into just a much more focused, mature young man with a clear vision and a deeper appreciation, for the opportunity. And just proud of him for how he went out and worked. There was no guarantees, but how he just continued to put the work in every day, and how he served his teammates last year was just amazing. He came with a great attitude every day, and when he got in some valleys along the way, he just continued to pick himself up and get back going. So again, I think it's a process that he's learned a lot from, and I'm just just thankful that there's doctors out there like Dr. Okonkwo. That guy's amazing. I met him one time. That was the day he had the surgery, and it's been incredible, the journey he's been on. So just pray that we can get back fully and doing it the way he wants to do it, and go on and have the type of career he wants to have.
Take about two more.
With Justin's injury and not being able to practice and Brandon being out, is this going to give a guy like Troy Stellato a chance to jump in real fast and see what he can do?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it gives us a chance with EJ and Bo. We've kind of got four starters right now at the receiver position, and so this gives us a chance to slide EJ over today, and Frank at 2, and Ngata at 9, and then because that was something we wanted to do anyway. We really wanted to get EJ and Bo some work at the 2 and the 5. So this will kind of help us along in that, kind of speed that along. And then when Justin gets back, we can get EJ back out and get the 2 work, cross-train Bo. And then also, see where Stellato's going to be a guy who can play the 5 and the 2. We're going to ask him to learn a couple of positions, but he's one I'm excited to see because I haven't seen him yet. I haven't been able to put my eyes on him. So hopefully he'll be ready to go too.
What do you want to see out of last?
Availability, consistency. I mean, same thing with Ngata. Ditto. You can put Ngata, Ladson, and Booth all in the same category. And if they're available, the rest will take care of itself. I promise you. These are really, really talented players, and they're knowledgeable, and they're passionate about it. But just they just need to catch a break. The good Lord keep them healthy and be able to be out there every week. And they're going to do great things.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, see y'all out there. Y'all have fun.
If I can get everybody's attention real quick, just to talk about today and tomorrow. As Coach mentioned, we are going to open everything up today and tomorrow for observation. So the first 6 periods.